coming from a man that his own presidential ambition was dead during the party primaries. And like Dino Melaye said, he tried so hard, he begged him. In fact, one paper quoted 19 times, but I didn't see the full interview, so I can't quote that. But he said Dino Melaye claimed that he begged him to be Atiku's running mate. That wasn't possible. Then what afterwards, we started hearing fights between him and Atiku. So, Mr. Wike is like God, sent Wike. He knows everything. He knows whose presidential ambition is dead on arrival. He knows who they beat mercilessly, but Atiku Abubakar did not beat him mercilessly during the primary. No. They didn't even beat him. I think he won the primaries. He won the PDP primary. He was pretty big candidate in the last election now. You see, our politicians forget that life is transient, and power, most importantly, is transient. It's but a fleeting time in life. For all of us in life, we are up here today, we are nowhere tomorrow. Today, there was a man that once said, PDP will rule for the next 60 years. The question is, where is Vincent Ogbula for today? I think politicians should focus on the lives of the people rather than the political grandstanding and calling the other person black when it doesn't suit them. At the same point, this was the same Mr. Wike that served under Amaechi's administration. We forget that in a hurry. So when you were serving him then, he was not weak, he was not terrible. But now you feel you're a master of your own, you shoot him down. It speaks volumes in life. So, as far as I'm concerned, him and Amaechi are both on the same bed. They both lost a presidential primaries. Mm-hmm. So what's the point? He also had a jab at Babacha Lawal that the reason why Babacha Lawal is fighting Tinubu is because they didn't make him VP. Mm-hmm. He too, we can say for him, like Dino Melaye said, that he begged him to help him talk to Atiku to be VP. Mm-hmm. Because, let's switch roles. If Wike had been VP candidate to Atiku Abubakar, do you think he'll be fighting Atiku Abubakar today? Anyway, I can say that argument is not empirical because Atiku Abubakar's even VP running mate has left the fold of the political party today. So, anyway, so you can see politics in this country is a funny. I think when the story of democracy will be written in this country many years to come, we'll ask questions about what the court did. Today, my challenge is to the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Many PDP governors filed a case against the state of emergency and a sole administrator. Why have the Supreme Court not heard that case? Or do they want to delay it till the end of the expiration of the 6-month state of emergency? Because it looks like that. Since that case has been filed, the Supreme Court have not heard that case. Because if the Supreme Court does not hear a case like that, we will not be able to determine if the aberration of the state of emergency was right. And you know what the ground it will breed? It will breed the ground for other presidents to also use that state of emergency clause to settle political scores. And that's how Nigeria starts to disintegrate in terms of morals and everything. And I might be wrong, but I'm going to give a challenge this morning that I do not think the Supreme Court will hear that case. You might prove me wrong. If they hear that case, it will be a miracle. I will come on the air and celebrate the Supreme Court. But my gut instinct tells me otherwise. Because that's what is the bane of the development of Rivers State as it is today. The fact that the court has not determined the illegality of that aberration. So everybody hides under that. And it's not the first time. The last time that the president did a state of emergency in Nigeria and the case was taken to court, the court also waited to a point where it was overtaken by events. Yeah. So when we will write about democracy, the role the courts played will also matter.
Absolutely.
So please, I would like to challenge the Supreme Court today. Save democracy. Hear that case that has been brought forward by people and some governors as regards the state of emergency in Rivers State. Hear that case to save democracy from anything remaining in this country. Supreme Court, hear that case, please. Going back to the aberration going on, the Rivers State electoral laws are clear that you must give a 90 days threshold as we speak. No 90 days threshold was given. They have just gone ahead with this determination of the date of an election under a sole administrator. In fact, I'm going to read some of the demands that were put forward by some elders in River States, where they said there's currently no legally constituted state electoral RASEC as mandated by Section 235 and 12 of the River State Independent Electoral Law. They talked about the 90-day notice. They also talk about that courts across the land are actively adjudicating the legality of sole administrator. That's the Supreme Court case, which is pending. In fact, pending is the Supreme Court case and Federal High Court actions. Multiple such duties challenged by the political party electoral machinery grinds under a so-called emergency guise. The fourth, they are saying River State have been plunged into a constitutional crisis. The fifth, Section 7, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution vests the exclusive responsibility of local council elections in the state governments. 7, blatant usurpation of state autonomy desecrates our federal architecture and imperils democratic governance in the country. So these are the grounds. But all of this is tied to that Supreme Court case. So I am not surprised that Nyesom Wike will say they should ignore. Because let's ask Nyesom Wike a question. Did he ignore the first local government elections held by Fubara that was not in his favor? Yeah. No. He went to courts with his cohorts. Or people surrounding him and people associated with him went to courts. And he upturned those elections. But today, when he favors him, and the reason why he's doing this is because he knows that the local government holds a haze in the grand political scheme of the states. You need a coalition of forces. And he knows that once these local government people are elected, which will probably be a lot of people that will pander to him, then he'll be able to hold Fubara at the jugulars. Because he will have the State House of Assembly, he will have the local government architecture. So Fubara is just going to be a lame duck when he comes in. And that's why Wike had the temerity on television to be telling us when the state of emergency will probably end soon. And these guys that they keep giving in the government, that the state of emergency was to save Fubara. No, don't pee on our back and tell us it's raining. The state of emergency was to tilt the equation in favor of Wike. Because what it is he has gotten all he wanted. So this will be the last crown jewel. He already has the State House of Assembly. When they come back, when the state of emergency is lifted, then he will get the local government on top of it. So a man that has the local government state of, what's it called? Fubara will not be able to fight back at his own political architecture. And that's what is playing out. But for the fact that this is aided by the president of this country shows the aberration. And the fact that the Supreme Court of this country, since that case has been taken to court, have not made a determination. Let's even know. And now it looks as though we are grinding to wait till the expiration of that term and we say, oh, it's been overtaken by events. You don't run a democracy that way. Because today, it favors people like Wike. Tomorrow, hope when the tide will turn against people like Wike, he will not cry then. It's in his favor. Enjoy it. It's your victory now, Wike. But hope when the tide will turn, you will not cry.
Nice. Mr. Wike is just one person. He has just one vote. If Mr. Rotimi Amaechi is able to secure the ticket of his political party, it would be down to Nigerians to determine whether or not he has a fighting chance to be president. This is political speak. I mean, it's not, we've seen things like this, so it's dead on arrival, you not make any headway. But I think it's important to also remind ourselves that we've had surprise candidates emerge as winners. So it's too early to call it. Let me put it that way. The first elected democratic president in this democratic dispensation had just newly minted come out of prison under the military rule, and he emerged as president. We've also had very almost rare in Nigeria where you beat the incumbent. In the case of former President Muhammadu Buhari, and Goodluck Jonathan. So it's not Uhuru to say that, oh, you have no fighting chance. Every Nigerian, as long as you're able to meet the criteria as constitutionally provided, has a chance to run for election. So this is just political speak, but I think it's also important to see how political friends and friendships can go awry, as with what's happened with Wike and Amaechi. Amaechi and Wike were once bosom, and at some point they spoke from the same side of the mouth. But now that things have gone out of the way, he now wakes up to realize that he would not do very well politically. But let's see, 2027 is going to be interesting. But what is most important is for the Nigerian people to vote wisely and to vote the best candidates who are shown working and you believe can lead Nigeria in the best way forward.
Absolutely. And like Ayo said, 2027 is definitely going to be very interesting.